Hello, I'm Lonnie.
I'm Amarylicious, and this is Logan.
Oh God, Logan's
Hey,
on the
Logan.
stream. Logan's here.
You see him good today. He's right in front of the camera.
This is Logan on the Loki review.
That's right. It's appropriate.
So anyway, this is the first episode called Glorious Purpose. And I'm just going to come right out of the gate and say that this is not only the best debut episode of a Disney Plus show, but possibly in the running for best episode of Disney Plus so far.
I would agree with that. 100%.
Spoilers. We're just going to go ahead and get into spoiler territory.
Spoilers.
Yeah, I need to do that. Like we're straight up in spoiler territory, and you have been warned because we're about to talk about some really deep stuff.
Shit.
So anyway, this episode introduces the Time Variance Authority. Loki. It basically goes straight from the part in Avengers Endgame in 2012 where he gets he teleports himself out using the Tesseract. He ends up like in Malaysia. They're
like, who the hell are you in their language? And he's like, I'm God, you know.
Yeah, well then the TVA shows up and like takes him hostage and basically is going to try him for crimes screwing everything up. And which is interesting because they explain in this episode that he is screwing up the timeline by taking the Tesseract, and the Avengers going back in time and screwing around with everything
was supposed to happen.
That was supposed to happen. So that's an interesting little.
It is.
Little bit. So.
So it's like, well, there's meant to be time travel, but only if it fits the timeline, like,
Yeah. And they already have everything predetermined. Like, they know exactly how it's supposed to go. And if it doesn't, it kind of makes... Look, I'm going to go ahead and say my prediction for the end of this series is that everything's going to be fractured beyond repair, and it's going to lead directly into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, I mean, that's the vibes I'm getting.
Yeah. They even
if it didn't, it would make sense, I think.
Yeah. There's no way. Look, here's the thing. Like, they've already teased Mephisto in this episode. And...
we thought they were.
No. Because, look, if they explain in this show that Loki is the variant going around causing all these problems, but I'm going to go ahead and say that if that was the case, they would have shown him at the end.
They ain't gonna show him right away in the first episode.
Dude,
that's dumb.
I do not think it's Loki. I think it's somebody else parading around as Loki. And I just...
I don't know about all that. We'll see.
I do.
We'll see. I don't know about all that.
They do an amazing job.
Because it can be him. I mean, that seems accurate. It seems, because we know there's a multiverse. So it's another Loki from another another dimension or whatever, however you want to say it. Going around, fucking around with everything. He is the god of mischief. I mean, fuck.
Yeah, but setting people on fire is not his...
It might be in another place.
No, I really don't. They do an excellent job of explaining the time variance and everything, and I'm not going to go into it in too much detail. If you're watching this and you want an explanation, do yourself a favor and go watch this show, because it was amazing.
It was really good. It was so... it explained so well. Just simple and clear. There's not any confusion. I mean, they show a whole video on it. Loki's watching it, and they show it.
It's like a cartoon.
Yeah. It's kind of like, those things you watched in school about different stuff. It's like, hey, this is this.
As you get older, you may experience body hair in places there wasn't hair before.
Yes, that type of shit.
Yeah, old like 1950s or 60s, look campy little
Yeah.
cartoon, looks like Cuphead or something.
Right, or well, let's go to the concession stand.
Yeah, let's all go to the lobby and have ourselves a snack.
Yeah, that right there. That's what it looked like.
But Owen Wilson.
He's
Holy
one of
crap!
my fucking favorites.
Like, here's the thing.
I didn't know he was going to be in it. I was so surprised.
Yeah, I knew. I was waiting. I didn't know he was going to have that prominent a role, though. But Owen Wilson, I like Owen Wilson.
I've always loved him. He's such... because most of his acting's improv anyway. He's one of those. And he's just such a natural, go-with-the-flow person. Freaking love it.
I've never been like a huge Owen Wilson fan, but at the same time, I've never seen him in anything bad. Mm-hmm. He's always impressed me every time I've ever really seen him in anything.
Yeah.
But he impressed the hell out of me in this episode. Him and Tom Hiddleston played well off of each other.
Mm-hmm.
His name was, Mobius?
I don't remember.
Yeah, Mobius. Because I remember thinking that was really close to Morbius, the vampire from Spider-Man. It seems like I've heard of Mobius before. He's a comic book character.
Right.
And the TVA does have a basis in the comics. I'm just, it's not something I'm really well aware of. They did show, though, that I'm assuming this place is like outside of time.
Yeah.
And they show that outside of existence, like where this place is, that he opens up a drawer in the evidence room, and they have just piles of infinity stones in the drawers.
It's like infinity stones, and he's like, oh yeah, there's tons of them here. Some of the people even use them for paperweights, like.
Yeah, and
because magic doesn't exist.
That kind of opened his eyes to, I guess, his his goals and the way he's doing things really amount to a hill of beans.
It was his awakening to what they were telling him was true.
Yeah.
He did not believe anything they said, despite, all the evidence. Plus, despite him trying to use his powers and they didn't work, he still was just like, oh, I don't believe all this. And then it took seeing the Infinity Stones and them just hanging out, not doing shit.
They had this little thing where they were showing him in the interrogation room. Well, I say interrogation room. It was like a time theater, I think is what it was called.
Yeah.
And Mobius is showing him, the immediate aftermath of what would have happened had he not deviated from the predetermined path. And it showed his mother dying, and him talking to Thor and everything, basically the events of the Dark World. Well, then after he kind of does a little escape and runs in there and fast forwards, and he sees him and Thor kind of coming to peace. He sees the death of Odin from Thor Ragnarok. He sees his own death at the hands of Thanos in Infinity War, and that is the end of the file. And he realizes really quick, like, hey, crap, I died.
Right.
He sees how all of that he had going on.
Because, despite him being a bad guy, he really did just want his family's approval. He felt like he didn't have it. He didn't feel respected. He felt like they didn't love him. And then he got to see all that play out and realize that's all I wanted. And then to see himself die.
Yeah.
After he got it all.
God, that would suck.
He
saw that he had his mother's approval. She died immediately after. Him and his brother.
Well, Odin said that he loved them, and
and then he died. And then as soon as him and Thor really, really made peace after Ragnarok, he dies. And you know, I'm.
Don't it make you feel bad for Thor all over again?
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of reflection on Thor's story over the last few weeks, watching videos and stuff. If you ever get the opportunity, go check out Cinema Wins, especially the videos on Thor, Infinity War, and Endgame. They will give you an amazing insight into Thor's mental state and his depression and things like that. I can't wait to see the Cinema Wins for this, really.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But no, this episode was just fantastic. There's somebody they say it's Loki, but I'm telling you, there's more to the story. It probably won't even be.
Is more to the story. Obviously, it's just the first episode.
I don't think it's Loki, but at the same time, I really don't think it's Mephisto either. I think they're just teasing Mephisto because they know that that's what people want. And I'm standing by my idea that Mephisto will probably never see the light of day in the MCU.
Oh, well, yeah.
Just because they won't be able to market the movies in China if they do.
Right.
Because it's too biblical, satanic type deal. And, you know, they don't allow... It's too big of a market. They're just not going to tempt fate.
Right.
But yeah, there's somebody going around doing this. They think it's Loki. All signs point to Loki. I'm going to say it's not Loki. I don't know who the hell it is.
So you don't think it's Loki, but you don't have any theories on who it may be.
No. I probably will
Really?
after next episode, though.
I'm surprised at you. But it's okay.
No, I really don't. We are in uncharted territory where I don't have any comics to go off of.
Right.
Because I do, but I've never read them. You know, I've never read a single issue with the TVA.
Gotcha.
Up till I heard of this show, I thought TVA was the freaking power company.
The nuclear power plant up here?
Yeah. The Tennessee Valley Authority.
Yes. Charge of those.
But anyway.
What do you rate this show?
11, hands down.
It's an 11?
Perfect episode.
I'll give it 11 too. It was great. And it started out great. Like, that's what really impressed me. You know, he stole that and they immediately went into it. It wasn't no bullshit.
Yeah. Nothing.
It didn't drag one time. There were no slow parts.
Which is interesting because you could watch it's because, you know, they show the timelines, you know, the timelines, and it looks just like what the Ancient One showed Bruce Banner in Endgame when he went back. It looks just like that. And the same color scheme and everything. And
they really stuck to it, you know.
So basically, like, let's say you're watching Endgame, and as soon as that part happens, it branches into Loki. Like, that's how it plays. It's so cool.
Yeah, and that's what they call it too. They call them branches.
Yep.
When they deviate. I'll tell you what, that was scary for me though. Before we end this, when they are like, how you can deviate from the main timeline, you know, or whatever. And it's like, you can just be late for work. I thought, fuck me being late to work. I'm gonna have to go in front of them.
Well,
no, they'd probably just reset me, I guess.
The way that this whole thing works out is, I mean, this is going to go directly into Doctor Strange, and I'm interested because, you know, they're going to elaborate on it. There was a part in there right around the same time where he mentions, you know, oh, did I have like a big deviation or whatever? And he was like, no, you're just like a pussycat or something like that. And I'm thinking, okay, what is a big one?
No, 'cause this seems pretty big, don't it?
Yeah, so...
But apparently there are.
And what happens if they don't get fixed?
Well, obviously... Okay, so here's the thing. Obviously, the other Loki... Since you don't think it's him. The other Loki is doing way more damage than this one ever thought about doing.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure it's just like anything else in a comic book world. There's bigger threats than Loki. I mean, you know.
Right now, all signs point to Kang the Conqueror, but he's already been confirmed for Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I don't see them bringing in the big bad guy for the whole next phase. I think this entire phase that we're going through right now is going to be just resetting the pieces. Like, it isn't going to really be like a phase per se. It's going to be setting everything up, and I think at the very end of the phase, honestly, what I think that we're getting all this taken care of. The phase will end with the Fantastic Four movie, and the Fantastic Four movie will end with a Galactus tease. I really do think that's how this is going to go. I think they're getting the timeline set, like, squared away. Once everything's squared away, it's going to bring the Fantastic Four and the X-Men into the fold. The Fantastic Four movie is going to close out the phase, and much in the way that they showed Thanos at the end of the first Avengers movie, I really do think that at the very end of the Fantastic Four movie, everything's going to be all nice, and it's going to, like, randomly in the post-credit scene, it's going to show this alien planet, everybody walking around minding their business, and then freaking Galactus is going to appear in the sky, and that's going to be it. And that's going to be the tease, and it's going to go into that. And the next two phases are going to tease Galactus getting closer and closer and closer, and nobody knows what the hell to do about it. I think that's going to be big. And, you know, whatever villains they introduce in the X-Men, those next two phases, whatever villains they introduce in the Fantastic Four, Captain Marvel, whatever, everybody's going to have to come together to defeat that motherfucker. And that's it's going to be a bigger thing than Thanos ever thought about being.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Okay.
That's my fan theory for...
I like it. I'm here for it.
And they're going to do it right.
I am here for it.
Yeah, they're going to do it right. It's not going to be some Rise of the Silver Surfer cloud BS. It's going to be Galactus. Because, you know, Marvel does it right.
I mean,
you know,
it's true.
The MCU does it. They do it right. So, I done got excited for something that might not even happen.
Well, such is our life. Anyway.
I tend to do that. So anyway, 11's across the board. Fantastic first episode. We can only hope that the next one lives up to this one. Alright, anyway, I'm Lonnie.
I'm Amberlicious.
And we are Untitled Nerd Network. We'll see y'all next week for episode 2.